Well, hello, Uberus Von Tuberus. It is I, Darth Cobain 17, with a pop culture update. Today we got 5 things. 3 of them are books, so let's start with them. First up, I've been waiting to get this one for a while. It never came out in paperback, so I bit the bullet and got it on hardcover for a bit of a discount with my Plum Plus and all that stuff. But anyways, the book in question is Star Wars, Poe Dameron, Freefall. So, this is kind of like Poe Dameron's prequel story, I guess. It takes place when he's about 16 years old, and he lives on, I was going to say Alderaan, but it's like, no, that's blown up. Yavin 4. After the rebels kind of left the base there and whatever, people eventually came back and settled there, and his parents, who both played a part in the rebellion, ended up settling there. Poe was very much like his mother, who was always after adventure and excitement, loved to fly, loved to pilot. And his dad was just worried about being safe and staying in this little community and not dying, sort of thing, right? So after Poe's mom died a number of years earlier, him and his father were always at odds because of their differing attitudes. And then finally one day, after a bit of an incident, he goes to one of the local cantinas and gets a non-alcoholic drink. Don't worry. And while he's there, runs into a little group of mercenaries that included one Zori Wynn. And you'll remember Zori from... Was it The Rise of Skywalker, the last movie of the last trilogy? One of those movies, but anyways, played by Felicity, whoever played Felicity. I can never remember her name. Felicity, no. Never mind. But anyways, she's hot. So he's kind of offers up his piloting services to this little group of mercenaries. He doesn't really know much about them. He knows that they're kind of probably smugglers, but he wants to get off Yavin 4. He wants to go start doing things, even if they're a little bit on the wrong side of the law. And so they give him a shot, and he gets them out of trouble, gets them off of Yavin 4. And he falls in with this group who are actually called the Spice Runners of Kijimi. So they run spice, which is a little more than smuggling, right? So, but he's so taken by Zori that he doesn't want to leave this little group. And over time, he kind of makes an in with the rest of the group, who at first were really leery of him. So the action flows to different planets with different jobs and stuff like that, and the relationship between Poe and Zori kind of deepens, and they obviously have feelings for each other, but Poe can tell that the job comes first with Zori. There's something about her being with the Spice Runners, even though she's the junior member of the crew, that is very important to her. It all culminates in a final thing when we learn just why Zori is so important to the Spice Runners of Kijimi, and Poe finally makes a stand against some of their nefarious actions in grand fashion before he makes his kind of exit from the group and goes off on his own afterwards. So, but I'm not going to give you too many details on the final confrontation, because then it'll kind of ruin some of the surprises for you if you ever should choose to read this book. Next up, 4th book in the Dragonwatch series, called Champion of the Titan Games, I think it's called. Yeah, Champion of the Titan Games. So, in this one, both Seth and his little Nipsey Calvin and the Hermo, the little troll or dwarf that he's traveling with, decide to go to Titan Valley, which is the last dragon sanctuary that's still standing, that hasn't been taken over by the dragons and been trashed. Kendra and her crew are also headed there because she wants to find Seth. So the Titan Games are taking place in Titan Valley, which are run by Humbuggle, the enigmatic dwarf who stole Seth's memories. And that's what Seth's after. He wants his memories back. He wants to know who he is, what he's done, and so he can just continue being Seth. But when he gets there, he meets a satyr named Virgil, I think it is, and then eventually another guy who helps reconnect his lost memories. And this guy is one of the fabled dragon slayers, one of the 5 fabled dragon slayers from history. And so Seth falls in with this guy, and they all have similar aims, and they forge ahead. Kendra, in the meantime, is with her cousins and Tanu and Warren and Vanessa and all those guys, and they make their way to Titan Valley Sanctuary as well, and start making their way towards the Dragon Temple, which is a key element in hopefully gaining some artifacts and turning this tide against Celebrant and his dragon fellow dragons that are trying to take over the world and escape all these all this captivity. So, but before they can get there, they have to deal with the Giant Queen who runs Titan Valley and who keeps the dragons in check. And of course, as all these events unfold and take place, a whole lot of action ensues. The dragons make their attack, led by Celebrant, on the Titan Valley Sanctuary, and he engages the Giant Queen in battle. The Dragon Temple is infiltrated by Seth and Kendra, and things are take place there. In the end, Seth gets his memories back. Kendra is captured by Celebrant, so it's kind of a win-lose sort of thing. So we're kind of left hanging in limbo as to what's going to happen in what's going to be the 5th and final book that's going to come out probably not anytime soon, but dare to hope. Next up, we have another Star Wars High Republic book called Race to Crashpoint Tower. This is one of the younger reader ones. And this stars the cast that we've seen in the most recent High Republic book I read before this one, I think, or maybe not. But Midnight Horizon, I think it was, the one that takes place on Corellia, when the Nihil try to capture all those new Corellian ships to further their attack on Starlight Beacon. And it was Ram and Wraith and Lula and Zine and those guys. They are the main characters in this story, so it's kind of their origin story in a way. Ram is one of the Jedi Padawans on Valo, and Valo is the planet where they had the Republic Fair that got attacked by the Nihil. So this takes place during that attack. So like Ram's doing his thing in the garage, fixing some droids and stuff all on his own, which is what he likes, and all of a sudden he gets a notification that the communication tower at Crashpoint Tower has gone down, and it looks like he's suspicious that it's some sort of attack, and he's thinking, Nihil? No, but I better check anyways. So he goes to investigate. Of course it is the Nihil. He gets into a confrontation. Momentarily, I think he gets the... does he get the tower back up and running momentarily and sends out a distress call, or does he flee? I can't remember. But anyways, he deals with the Nihil as best he can, and gets taken into captivity when he tries to let people know. But he's going about it the wrong way. He's in a spot he shouldn't be when he tries to go tell his masters and stuff. He gets taken into custody. He gets freed from jail by Ty York, if you remember her. Maybe I didn't mention her, but she's from that story as well. And so eventually he does get a message out that Valo is under attack by the Nihil. And some of the Jedi that hear this are Zine and Lula and their masters, who actually went to Zine's home planet after she helped the Jedi repel an invasion there. And they get some insight on how the Nihil started and what they're up to and stuff like that. But they hear this distress call from Ram on Valo, and so then they come to his aid. And so the rest of the book is just these young Padawans finding a way to fight off the Nihil, fight off the Drengir, which are those living evil plants that have been going through the Outer Rim and causing problems. And then, of course, getting the communications tower back up again because it's gone down again, so they can get reinforcements at large from wherever, right, sort of thing. So it's just kind of a story that takes place during that whole attack on Valo on the Republic Fair, just from a different angle, from a few different characters in it, and what was going on behind the scenes from what happened in that other book that we read, which was... I don't remember what that was called. Out of the Shadows, maybe. Yeah, I can't remember things anymore. Next up, a movie. And this is a classic from 1988 that I watched a lot as a kid, and I totally forgot about for the longest time. And then it came up in an Amazon search for some reason. I didn't even search for it, but it was there, and I was like, I'm buying it. It is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So Elvira is a sexy host on some cable show, but she hosts like the horror movie hour night or whatever. And when her new boss sexually harasses her, she's like, I'm out of here. I got a gig lined up in Vegas anyways, so I'm out of here. But then she finds out from her manager that, no, you need 50 grand in order to get this Vegas thing going. And she's like, shit. But then she finds out that her aunt, Morgana, has recently deceased. And so she goes to a small town called Falwell, Massachusetts, I believe it is, to see what she might get in the inheritance. What she finds that she gets is her old, dilapidated, crazy, evil-looking house, her recipe book, and her dog. So she has plans, of course, to sell the house and get the money and all that sort of thing. But she gets into this town, which is a really kind of repressed, stuck-up kind of town. And so her kind of flashy, sexy ways are frowned upon by most of the residents. Although she befriends the guy that runs the local movie theater. And, of course, all the kids love her and stuff like that and help her fix up the house. But what's really working against her and what's feeding this hatred from the citizens is her uncle Vincent, who is actually a warlock, and he is after her recipe book, which is actually a spell book. So she unwittingly does not know anything about this and keeps... she's like, yeah, I'll sell the book to you for $100 or $50 or whatever. But events conspire that keep the book keeps getting hidden from her, sort of thing, so she can't sell it to him. So he starts getting frustrated. So eventually, as the movie moves along, it's all heading toward a confrontation between Vincent and Elvira for control of this recipe book, this spell book, and the power that it contains, sort of thing. So Elvira is just one of these movies that it's so cheesy, so funny, so crazy and different. I can't believe I forgot about this movie, but I used to have, recorded off cable on the VHS when I was a kid, and I used to watch it like crazy. I loved Elvira, and I'm so glad it came up in that search, because I was like, shit, I can't wait to watch this. I can't wait to see if it's as good as I remember it being. And you know what? It was. It really was. And it's one of those old 80s horror movies sort of things that has like, there's no CGI. It's all puppets and weird things, right? Like, which I just love. I love that look. I love that feel. Even though in today's standards it looks old and cheesy, it still looks fantastic to me, Last up, recently finished this, Hot Wheels Unleashed, for the Nintendo Switch. Not much to say about it. It's a Hot Wheels racing game. There's been a bunch of them over the years. This is the newest one. It's got... a bunch of modes, quick race, time trials, that sort of thing, the basic modes. But it's got a kind of like a story mode. I forget what it's called. It's like Hot Wheels City Rumble or something like that. So it's basically just a big map of a city, and with little events scattered throughout, and you can follow little routes to do them. And there's different types of events. There's like regular races against other cars. There are time trials where you're just trying to set lap times within a certain limit. There's boss races, only 5 of them, where you kind of square off in a race that has a theme with a certain boss that will try and thwart you during the race. And then there's secret events, which you have to fulfill various conditions in order to unlock through other races, and then you unlock the prize that's within this secret kind of event, sort of thing. As you go along, you unlock cars, you can buy cars, you can upgrade them. You have control over your pad where you kind of race out of, so you can unlock stuff and alter the look of your living room, your kitchen, your games room, or whatever it is, sort of thing. So there's lots of little extras and unlocks to do to keep you going through the game. And of course, all the Hot Wheels machines are ones that I think actually exist. I don't know, some of them might be made up, but I recognize a lot of these Hot Wheel cars from the ones that we've bought personally, or the ones that I've seen in the store that we haven't bought, sort of thing. So it's a fun game. It's not that in depth. I mean, racing is racing. Hot Wheels are Hot Wheels. It's not too doesn't have too many bells and whistles, but it's just a really well executed game. Looks really good, plays really well. And it's got some decent length to it. There's a lot of events and lots of stuff to unlock, so I really enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away totally, but I had a lot of fun playing it. And based on some other Hot Wheels games I've played in the past, they kind of didn't live up to what my expectations were. but this one did, so I was really happy with that. So, but it's not one of those games like when games first come out and they're $79.99. I would never pay that for that. At the most I'd ever pay for that, like if you're looking to buy it, the most I'd ever pay is 40. But again, you're gonna want, like, I like to get things down into that $19.99 at most $29.99 kind of range, right? So, but for what it's worth, just my advice. Now, games like, you know, a new Star Wars game or something like that, yeah, I might pay $80 for, but games like this, no. So, anyways, that's the 5 things. Hope you enjoyed it, and I've already got other stuff in the works, so I should be back soon enough. Until then, enjoy the rest of this kind of weird back and forth summer. Toodles.